In this video, we are going to discuss debugging JavaScript and the tools and techniques that we can use to make the process easier. We'll particularly focus on using Visual Studio Code as our IDE. Debugging is the process of finding and resolving issues or bugs in our code. When our code isn't working as expected, we need to find out why. And that's where debugging comes in. But how do we do that in JavaScript? Well, there are a few methods that we can use. A common technique is using console log statements to print out values and see what's happening in our code. For instance, if we have a function and we are unsure what value it's returning, we might insert a console log statement to print out the output. So for example, if we have a function add x, y, and we have a let result is equal to x plus y, and then we return the result, we can have a console log statement that prints the result. So after we define it, we can have console.log result. Let's call the function and then run the program. And you'll see that the answer is 6. Now in this case, we could also do console.log add of 2 and 4 and have a single line here like return x plus y. But if the function is more complicated and we have multiple statements here like let first name equal to something and so on, then you would probably need to see each step one by one and see the value of each variable so you can understand what the code does. However, as our programs get more complex, we might need more advanced tools. And that's where the debugger in Visual Studio comes in. VS Code has a built-in debugger that lets us set breakpoints in our code, run our code line by line, and inspect variables along the way. To start, we just need to open the Run and Debug panel on the left-hand side, which is this one. So let me just clear my code, remove this line, also remove the console.log, and then press Run and Debug. And you'll see that nothing really happens, and that's because one of the main features of a debugger is the ability to set breakpoints. A breakpoint is a spot in our code where we tell our debugger to pause execution. This allows us to examine the current state of our program at that exact moment in time. So for example, let's set a breakpoint at line 2. You just have to go here and press click, and you will see a red dot, which is our breakpoint. Now if you press Run and Debug, you will see that our code stopped executing at this exact line. From there, we can inspect the current state. You will see that x is 2, y is 4, and right now the result is undefined. That's because this line was not executed yet. You can see that once our code is paused, we have a few options. One of them is step over, which is this button. Step over moves to the next line of code. The next one is step into. And step into moves into any functions called on the current line. So if we have set a breakpoint on line 6, for example, we would have to press step into to go inside the function. And step out finishes the execution of the current function and moves to the next line of the calling function. So let me show you how all of these work. Let's start with step over, which is the first one. Let's press it, and you will see that we are now at line 3. Line 2 was executed, line 3 was not executed yet. Right now, x is still 2, y is still 4, but the result is 6 because line 2 has set the result to be x plus y, which is 2 plus 4, meaning 6. Now let's press step over once again, and you will see that right now we are not inside of the function anymore. We are at line 6, and let's press it once again, and you will see that the execution ended. Let's try this once again, but right now let's remove this breakpoint. And let's add some dummy data right here, so like a console log test, and set a breakpoint on line 6. Then press Run and Debug, and you'll see that we are right now on line 6. The add function was not executed yet. So if we press step over, the add function is executed, but we didn't go inside the add function. Step over again and again, and the execution ended. Let's try this once again. Run and debug, and right now let's press step into. And you will see that we are now inside the function. If you press step into again, you will see that it acts like step over because we do not have another function that we can step into. But usually you will have to press step over if you want to go to the next line. We press it again. We are now at line 7. And this first button is to end the execution or continue to the next breakpoint. Let's press it. And for example, let me show you if we have 2 breakpoints. Run and debug. We are at the first breakpoint. Let me set another one right here. And let's press continue. You will see that continue went inside the add function till the next breakpoint. Let's press it again, and you will see that it goes to line 7, because that is the next step in our execution. Let's stop this. Let me remove these breakpoints. And let's run and debug once again. And let's try our final option, which is step out. So we are inside the function, and step out finishes the execution of the current function and moves outside the function. Step out, and you can see we are now at line 7. Good, now let's stop the program. So debugging is a crucial skill for any developer. While console log and other logging techniques can help us understand what's going on in our code, the debugging tools provided by Visual Studio Code provide a much more powerful and in-depth way to diagnose and fix issues. Debugging is not just about fixing errors, but also about understanding how your code is working. So keep on practicing.